want to go live right now, but I want to talk, and it's such a nice day that I just feel like I have to capture some of this. I have to capture some of this. I'm on the Upper East Side. Like, I want to film stuff because it's just such an interesting neighborhood. I would live up here, man. If I could get an apartment, it was sort of cheap up here a few years ago compared to other places in Manhattan. Now that there's Second Avenue subway, I'm not so sure, but I was just by the comic strip and I saw that they are hiring servers. They're hiring servers. I'm like, fuck, I should apply for this. I kind of just need to get some money and a job to just kind of bolt me out of the situation I'm in. To just kind of get back, on my feet where I can actually kind of have more authority over my own making moves, trying to expand, trying to build out, make a living, and take it to the next level, rather than just sort of, let me get some of this action. Look at that shit. Isn't that nice? Come on. I fucking... There we go. Can't get it there, too. Oh boy, those are like children. Those are like opposite girl. I can't, I'm not filming people of that age. See, but they understand what's going on. Somebody told me yesterday, they understand, this guy's live. What a loser. What a fucking loser. Look, it's content. I just wanted to talk about, if people hadn't seen it, I've been dropping some kind of interesting shit on my YouTube page to people that are kind of like checking out the vlogs and the fucking Songs from a Life. I just did that Songs from a Life thing, which is sort of like a basement tapes. It's like demo. It's all music from my vlogs. Literally, I went into the fucking original files on Final Cut, which they stores a duplicate of the original media, and I got the songs directly from that. So it's like literally all songs that I used in videos. So if you watch my vlogs, the thing with Holy Smokes and our artistic process is that we were a little bit ahead of our time, in that we would have been great on streaming, because what was amazing is we would improvise every practice for like 2 or 3 hours, making up lyrics, making up music, and it was incredible. And we did record all of it. Actually, we recorded every fucking practice, and it was always great. It was way better than the shows. But it was hard to capture that in anything other than like a demo-style recording. We were more like the Grateful Dead than I realized at the time. I was not really a deadhead, and I hadn't been turned on to some certain things. So, like, we just thought we were way out of bounds artistically, and we needed to make real recordings and shit. What we should have done is just posted every practice. We should have just self-bootlegged every fucking practice. But at the time, YouTube, there were 20-minute constraint on how much you could post. It's not like now, post-pandemic, where you could just post unlimited. But, I'm in the bike lane here. God, I wish I could get better back lighting. That really sucks that it's so blown out. I need a new phone if people want to donate to my filmmaking Kickstarter. So yeah, I've got a new vlog tonight, premiering dialogue fiction, and this Songs from a Life thing. So a lot of these recordings, they're rough. There's definitely some parts where it stops and starts. There's one recording where I answer my phone. So you hear me like on a phone call in the middle. But I like that kind of shit. If I'm going to be honest with myself, I prefer those kind of recordings. I prefer demos. I prefer outtakes. I love the Kin Founds tape, right, of the fucking White Album. The White Album is almost like a demo, almost. It's like a collage. It's like a montage of a bunch of different styles, a bunch of different genres, a bunch of different recording qualities and sort of aesthetics. And I gonna run into Chaz Palminteri up here? I think he has a restaurant. The real you know you've made it in New York when you have a restaurant like named after you, like Chaz Palminteri's Italian restaurant. Joe Franklin had a restaurant. Joe Franklin's Comedy Club. I definitely want to have my own club. Soon. So if you want to donate to that too, we're making big moves. Yes, okay. All the songs from this tape, it's kind of like a Velvet Underground tape. You know, who I also wasn't really that familiar with at that time. I was born to Lou Reed, Silver Jews, and it was kind of a creative explosion, but it was hard to know how to share that material. And who knows if anybody's even interested. I think there's a lot of beauty in those recordings and a lot of energy and a lot of you know, it was at an interesting place for me artistically because I was still rhyming, still kind of like writing kind of sort of understandable poetry, you know, and I was pretty good at it. And so applying that into the music, so I don't know, it's kind of long. Some of the songs are 8 or 9 minutes long. We were kind of legendary for that. But yeah, I think people should listen to it, and I think it has aged well. It's sort of like a collage of a bunch of different rehearsal quality kind of takes, you know. There were a lot of different moods. I mean, Eric was kind of an incredible musician, and that way he kind of set moods. And Jake's kind of guitar stuff really made it kind of interesting and jazzy and kind of artistic, and kind of pushed it into this kind of really unique sounding thing, actually. The thing about those early fucking Holy Smokes tapes, the things when we did Holy Smokes on stage, it was so overdriven and like it was a little bit too produced. It was too much of like just a classic kind of rock band. Whereas like the rehearsals, if you listen to this Songs from a Life thing, there's a lot of different kind of instrumentation. It's an interesting sound. It's more like a demo tape, or like a fucking who's that guy? Daniel Johnston. It's rough around the edges, but I like that stuff. You know, that's always my favorite stuff. And God, what else? Yeah, so the Songs from a Life thing. And the other thing I'm working on is I am compiling my fucking chapbooks into a big... God, why did I do this? I feel so awkward on the Upper East Side. I just wanted to get some of the scenery and shit. These are like the homes of the power elite. Epstein lives somewhere around here. Epstein's townhouse somewhere around here. That's not why I'm here, but yeah. So I'm compiling all my chapbooks into like with my poetry stuff. It's like I've got my Paris book. I've got my trilogy, my relationship trilogy, you know, of travel books. I've got a San Francisco book. I've got the Paris book. I've got the LA book. And then I've got a pandemic book, which is like a Columbus, Ohio book. But I don't really have like a perfect bound New York City like novel. Like a couple years ago, and you see this in my chapbooks, New York Times did this list of like best New York City novels. And so I thought, okay, I want to write a New York City novel. And my vlogs are kind of like a New York City novel. City life. Manhattan, Alexanderplatz. That's what, you know, I'm trying to go big. I'm trying to go epic. I'm trying to go giant. Get to that novel size. And, you know, my poetry is almost like installments in one big... You know, I was thinking about this the other day. You know, when I first came to New York, going to the Met. I think it was the Met. Maybe it was the Natural History, but I'm pretty sure it was the Met. And they have this giant fucking... I don't know if it's Aztec or Maya, it's some Incan, it's some kind of South American, Central American indigenous. But it was this giant, just like disc, and it's all carved, and it's just, you know, it's got to be so heavy. It's gonna be thousands of fucking pounds. And they say the artist like works on this one piece their entire fucking life, right? They apprentice and they learn how to be an artist, but they put their whole fucking life into this one fucking giant fucking piece. And I thought, yeah, like that's what I want to do. Like Walt Whitman, Leaves of Grass, right? Walt Whitman had one book that he kept kind of rewriting, revising, adding to, reshaping. I mean, he kind of fucked it up at certain points. You know, and he had Specimen Days. He had other things he did, obviously. But Leaves of Grass is like the one poetry book. It's not like he put out Leaves of Grass and then 3 years later he had another fucking book, and then 3 years, you know, it was always Leaves of Grass. And so that's kind of what I mean, right, when I say all my poems are one poem. And it's really just like an autobiographical novel of my memory and kind of my consciousness, you know, the different ways things imprint themselves on your consciousness. Things you see, things you smell, moments, sensations, turns of phrase, beauty, happenstance beauty, kind of weird, anything I notice, anything that feels like a part of life, I try to tack it onto the big spitball of everything that's ever happened. And I'm trying to get, you know, even though you can write little poems within that, you know, like really every stanza, sometimes every line in my poems is a poem in and of itself. I know that's like the most fucking awesomely pretentious shit, you know, but it's true, goddammit. There, you know, even within stanzas, there might be one line, because I think of things throughout the day, and one line might be a totally standalone thing, even though it's crammed in with all this other shit. You gotta get to the sun here. On the Upper East Side. And so, you know, one line really is meant to, I don't use a lot of space. The thing is, I should use a lot more space, and I should isolate things more to kind of make it clear that things stand alone. But I also just like jamming everything together because that's how thinking is. That's how life is. You know, every piece of art has to have a continuity and kind of a focus and a center. And I don't do that. You know, everything is, you know, a detour, so beautiful. What's the word? A tangent, a digression, a distraction. You know, we live in a very distracted, anxious, overthinking. But I also want, ooh, look at this shit. Very nice. Wow, we got here just the exact right time. You know, I wanted to have, there is a continuity because it's the lived experience as kind of experience in the senses, in the mind, in the body, in the selfhood, whatever that is, you know, of the I, but also maybe not. You know, there's a lot of things in the book that are like language poetry type things, just pure language, pure sound bath poetry, visual art poetry. To me, that's part of experience. That's part of, so, you know, it's not really totally just like a New York School ripoff. You know, there's a lot more going on. There's a lot of different sizes, so styles that I'm synthesizing. And so, the book I'm trying to put together is like, I'm trying to compile basically all the chapbooks I've written in New York, I guess. I'm thinking about how far back to go, because I started doing this diary for, you can see it kind of develop in the work kind of from like 2015, but then really in like 2016, 17, and then 18, that's when I started doing like the chapbooks pretty industriously. I think the first one I really made was this one called Drop City, where I printed it out and folded it and stapled and shit. And I had made a chapbook because a couple of pages had fallen out of a notebook that I had, but they were still stuck together. So I just handmade this book for my friend. That was like an edition for one, and it was kind of the first book I ever made, actually. And it was kind of, that was the first time I really realized you could do that. Just like staple some shit together, bam, you got a book. You can totally have license to do that, And, thinking about it like, okay, these 4 or 5 poems go together. They're part of one book, one work. And so what's the name of it? What's the just like even making something in that sort of micro edition teaches you everything about the book making process kind of in miniature. You put material together, you think about the coherence of it. You can make a book that's one poem, really. I think that's cool, broadsides, or even one long poem, There's a million different things you can do in a book. I think that's one of the fun things as a poet, as an artist, to think about. As Robert Frost says, if a book has 26 poems, then the 27th poem is the whole book, right? There's a lot of different ways you could think about that. My 1-year book, 1 line a day, so it adds up to one sort of long poem, but it's a standalone chapbook, 10 pages or something. Oh, this is one of my favorite places. Over here by it smells so fucking good out here. Fuck, it smells like bread. It smells like the bread of the earth. Let me get some of this. Where old comedians go to retire. The reflection pond. The conservatory water. There's my arch enemies, the super talls there. It's windy. There's the Alice in Wonderland statue. I share a birthday with Lewis Carroll. Oh, I should have put that on my chapbook. I share a birthday with Mozart and Lewis Carroll. So think about that as you watch my fucking vlog life. Look at this. Let's just appreciate this for one moment, shall we? Magnificent. See, this is why we live here. I mean, if the super talls weren't just like chimneys of complete excess that were horrible for the environment, I think they look, they upstage what was here before, but that seems to be what they want to do. I was looking at the newsstands. New York City used to have, every newsstand was like a personalized kind of shack. Wood, however the people wanted to do it. They made their own signage. I guess when Bloomberg came in, he tore down all the old newsstands and they built these kind of uniform, like chrome metal fucking newsstands. And that's New York in the 21st century. It's super talls. Let's just take a big piss all over the 20th century, because that's what you're supposed to do in New York. You're supposed to do it bigger and better and taller, and I don't know. It's just obnoxious people. We live in an obnoxiously wealthy and empty fucking century in a lot of ways. Transparent. There's just nothing there in those fucking super talls. They block the Chrysler building. They dwarf the Chrysler building. That's why I put them on the cover of my fucking book. Because to me, that is like, it's the emblem of, but like I said, they look like, I don't know, anime or some shit. They look like Blade Runner. They do have this kind of tall, thin, crystal castles, what is that, Uncanny Valley kind of beauty, teardrops in rain, cryogenic teardrops falling. Long kind of T-1000s. Yeah, so there they are. I prefer the 18th century. That's why I moved here, the 19th century. Central Park is from the 19th century. And it's still good. It still works. Who knows if that shit will be... I mean, it doesn't serve any purpose. I mean, it's just empty wealth. It's empty value. It represents our century. It's private wealth. It's private, totally non-functional. pointless, but I guess it looks cool. It's just status flaunting. Total waste of collective power for individuals, individual kind of empires. It's not a commercial office, it's a private residence. It's just these like luxury portfolio investment kind of holdings. Not these old apartment buildings over here are pretty fucking nice, the San Remo, and that's the 20th century. So yeah, with my, I need my New York book. It's like, and I feel like if I combine all the chapbooks, the thing is, I've got a few from before the pandemic when I lived in Ridgewood, and I'm debating over whether or not to put the 1 year poem in there. Because that, when I think about it, well, how did I like put all this stuff together, and what am I just copying something? Can you just look at what I'm doing and be like, oh, this guy's just, like a lot of what I do is like Joanne Kiger. But there's different people that sort of utilize time-based works. Schuyler's somebody that a lot of his poems are just titled in one day. Eileen Myles kind of takes that further. I think that's why Eileen Myles was such an important poet, where it's just like the poem just goes everywhere with Eileen Myles. Bring you into the neighborhood, into the real life. And there's this weird kind of spooky quality where it's almost like speaking directly to you in your own life. Because there's just things that are so weirdly... So, I don't know. Philip Whalen is a big... There's a million different influences on this book. And so I think, the thing that really, I guess was like a decisive thing was like the Bernadette Mayer stuff, probably. The experimental, quote unquote, forms of that. The Bernadette Mayer feminist reading group that I was in long ago, they let me into that in 2017. I loved it. It was amazing. It did kind of change it was happening with other things, but like the memory piece, right, is, Bernadette Mayer just wrote like, I don't even know how many lines it was a day, but it was, and so it goes day by day over like a month. There was a more literal like dating things and having it be like sort of a calendar work. I got Bernadette Mayer, I think it was Works and Days, or it may have been Poetry State Forest. Those have like a series of sonnets that are kind of like over time. And so just like, that was coinciding with, I had been doing vlogs, for years before that. And so I already had a tendency to kind of want to make things that sort of tracked my life over time. And to be honest, like I would say that the vlogs were more of a kind of a, if you look at my chapbooks, they're basically like my vlogs. They're basically pretty much identical. So in a certain way, I think I was just copying myself. If you look at the early Scenes from a Life episodes where they have titles and dates and theme music and shit, which is collected now on my Songs from a Life video, which you should watch. They're just exactly like the poems. But the videos started out that way first, so it was almost like having video editing and working through that medium and just vlogging. That's sort of like what taught me how to write the chapbooks or whatever. Oh, they used to have so many more fucking tables over here. This place open. I'm gonna sit down for a sec. And so, yeah, like you're reading tons and tons of shit, and that's giving you ideas. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think you read poetry or just art in general, is to just like get ideas. And sort of, so my work is kind of just like a big melange of like stealing from everything that I like and borrowing from there's a million different, The Ted Berrigan stuff, obviously. Tambourine Life. You know, there's a million fucking things. But I also feel like, man, am I just kind of like, you know what's next? Like, I've arrived at kind of like this style where I go day by day, and I like it. Not that other people necessarily do. I think that's one of the reasons why it is probably important or a good idea to collect it all into one book, because having it in one book almost might make it a more, not that it's going to necessarily make sense to anybody else, but maybe it'll make more sense. You know, I think you will probably get some sense of it. It would track my life over like 6 years, right? The chapbook started in like 2018. Is this boring for? I just wanted to talk about this, and it's just so nice out that I had to fucking turn this on, because just look at it. Just look at it, people. I'm just gonna give you that, you know, while I jabber about my poetry. What could be more poetic? See, look at that ugly ass fucking building. You know? They just have license to build any kind of ugly shit, it seems like, at this point. And no one is gonna stop them or anything. Not that we don't have any say in it. Like, what the fuck? Who's making... You'd think that the airspace would be like more of a common concern. The way that they want to militarize outer space and build a fucking train on the moon and go to Mars and build colonies on Mars, it's like, I thought we didn't want to do that to outer space. I thought it was going to be like fucking Star Trek, and like we were going to have a more of a peaceful kind of utopian thing going forward, and we weren't going to fuck with outer space. But it's like, I have a line in my most recent chapbook which is kind of intense, but it's like skyscrapers raping the sky. You know, that's what I feel when I see fucking super talls. It's just like, that is such a fucking obnoxious male sexual assault on fucking Mother Nature without anybody's consent. Like, who consented to that? Just a bunch of rich people who bought the fucking, just because they bought the air rights or something, they own some tiny little footprint of land. You know, the thing is, it's not even livable. You know, let's say that was like affordable housing. Let's say they converted that into like a project. Like, you couldn't even live in it. It's not like actually like a functional good place to live or anything. All right, that's pretty nice. Yeah, so like, the idea with the chapbooks is just like over time, and I think, to be honest, I think the LA Storybook maybe does this more effectively than the other of the other books. The LA Storybook is probably the one that's closest to like a novel and kind of a narrative that, you know, anybody could pick up and sort of read and get like a feeling of like beginning, middle, and an end through these kind of weird splotches of recognition and like you know, just the catch as catch can of like incident, memory, idea, thought, observation, thing overheard, you know, any number, you know, there's a million different things you borrow from your experience to sort of patch together the poem, which is sort of like an oral recantation. Here on Club Random. That's just a nice little shot. Maybe we'll do like a time lapse here, like audio commentary track. Wow. Yeah, so I think, you know, I've got a few different kind of literary projects that are like that are more like books that, you know, I haven't published a book in like a couple years. The last two books I did, I think, were the LA Storybook and the Pandemic book. And that was 2022, I think, maybe. Or was it 21? It may have been 21. I think it was 21. It's hard, you know, the pandemic years all kind of blur together. I was just smoking my ass out, laying around. I was part of the lay flat movement. But, you know, I have all these chapbooks that I published that, like, you know, if you read them kind of incrementally, they're like comic books or something. But this would be like the big, I guess, Marvel compendium of like all of the Spider-Man put together into one, like, book that they publish. But I think it would give you a portrait of the city over the last 6 years, 7 years. The movement, you know, I talk a lot about the movements of how the city changes, how the skyline changes, how fucking the rules change, the scene changes. You know, there's tons of people, you know, I mentioned tons of people, so there's tons of real life New Yorkers and my friends and poets and whatnot in there. So, you know, in a certain way, I think that'll just bring it into focus that it's meant to function not only in these sort of little incremental units as like little haiku or one-line poems or one-page poems or long poems or whatever it is. There's a number of different kinds of poetry within these diary kind of pamphlets. And the pamphlets are just an immediate way to sort of get the work out, write it in installments or something. It is almost like a long-form narrative TV show, because you don't know what is going to happen next, even when you're making it, except... my rolling paper blew away. Should have got that on tape. That was kind of funny. Oh well. And then later it kind of assembles into, like, you know, this big story that actually has continuity for 5 or 6 seasons or 8 seasons or 10 seasons, like Mad Men or whatever. You know, you can tell they were just kind of building the plane as they went, but you know, I think that's one of the fun things about poetry, or just art in general, is just like all the different ways you can assemble something together, assemble different pieces. And, you know, the chapbooks are all different weights and sizes. You know, the city, the Central Park chapbook, you know, is a big one. The one I just put out, War Commercial, is a big one. But it's also like, oh boy, Ashley's in the West Village, okay. Well, good for you, Ashley. Good, stay there. Just kidding. So I'd like to have a book that's maybe 4 or 5. I've got, you know, I compiled most of the chapbooks together into a doc today, and it was 366 pages. One for every day of the year. I will update you, Ashley, okay? We'll see you in a little while. Did you just get on? I can't believe you're just now in the chat. The last time I put out a collection was like 2019, very beginning of 2019. So I am kind of due to just kind of, Ashley has a life, good for you. You don't let daddy have a life. I'm all the way up here waiting for your ass. I get all of this in real life anyway. Yes, you don't have to watch. Get out of my chat. Just kidding. Okay. Jesus Christ. Ashley's a menace. I'm Mr. Wilson, she's Dennis the Menace. That's we should be for Halloween. Have fun eating your cupcakes. So, yeah, I think it adds up to kind of like a novel type thing, but in an interesting way. Through all of these different step-by-step, kind of block by block. The City Life chapbook is a lot like the Central Park chapbook. There's... Okay, thank you for the cupcakes, Ashley. Thank you. There's the single room occupancy chapbook, the Jack Kerouac chapbook, the open mic chapbook, Bloomsday. You know, so people might have one of these books, or two of these books, or three of these books, but they're all an individual. So collecting them into one, I'd like to have, like, you know, a 6x9, like I said, 400 or 500 pages, nice font size, and that's like my New York novel. I'll probably call it City Life, and I'll just use that cover. But, I imagine it'll be kind of expensive to publish. You know, my dream would be you publish this book and then fucking it becomes popular and viable enough that a major publisher would just kind of finance like a reprint on some kind of bigger scale. You know, you design the way you want the book to look, the cover, the size, the material. You publish it, you make it a real thing. And then all the publisher has to do is basically like finance a bigger pressing. That's like vaguely in my head what I would like want to happen in my life. You know, some kind of major New York publisher or whatever to put out like my New York novel. Ideally, they would issue all of my like Perfect Bound. You know, they'd issue the fucking Alice in the Cities book, the Romana Clef book, LA Story, myself included, with the sex poems restored. I was just looking to, I'd like to get this book, Route 33. I have a collection of stuff from like 28 to 2012 or so, 2013. That's kind of like really early stuff. That's a lot different. I feel like I almost want to put that out just so people kind of like see that I'm like a little, I can be serious. I haven't always just been like kind of a speed freak, you know, inside jokester like I am now. But, you know, I'd like to reissue all this stuff because I do have stuff done that just never got published. I never put that Route 33 book out. It's probably 100 pages. There's some good stuff in there. I never put out, and then I've got the Myself Included book, the Pandemic book as well. So I've got, you know, 5 books right there. Then if I put the New York book together, that'd be 400 or 500 pages. You know, it tells the story of the last 7 years, my journey in comedy. And then maybe someday they'll just publish all of my notebooks. The thing is, I do abridge it. You know, I do abridge it for the chapbooks. I don't just type everything that's in my notebook. I have to leave, you know, a lot of it out. So I do just try to pick the best stuff or whatever. But there's always a few things that are pretty good that get left out. So I'd like to reissue it maybe with some stuff restored. With the chapbooks, you have to have an even number of pages because every sheet has 4 pages on it. So you can't do, like, for instance, 22 pages because then you'll just have 2 blank pages in a weird place. Whereas like in a perfect bound book, I could literally just put any number of pages I want. So I'd like to take a little time with it and make it exactly right. But, you know, the idea is it would be accessible to like an average reader. It wouldn't just necessarily, I think by adding more material, people would see kind of the story, but you can also just open the book up and look at it anywhere. You know, one of my favorite poetry books is this Rhode Island Notebook by this guy, Gabriel Gooding. He literally wrote this fucking book while he was driving. He had a job in, I think in Connecticut or something, and he had a job in Illinois. And so he was driving back and forth from like fucking Connecticut to Illinois on like I-70 or whatever it is, writing his book while he's driving. And it takes place over like years, and it's dates, and you know, he's talking about his mileage, his gas, you know, so he's constantly mentioning like he's stopping to get gas, what freeway he's on. He talks about Columbus a lot because he's constantly driving. He talks about 270 and Marble Cliff and this and that. And so it just kind of tracks his mental ticker tape or whatever over these journeys. But it's Bush era, so it's very focused on like oil, gas consumption. That's sort of like one of the layers of the book, is the fact that he's just burning all this fossil fuel. What a crazy, I'd love to have that academic life. I'd love to fucking have a teacher. You know, could you imagine commuting? Henri Cole was like that. If you're a serious poet, you work like 1 day a week. Like Henri Cole like commuted from Boston. He didn't want to live in Columbus, Ohio. He had like a fucking row house like in Boston. And so he'd just like fly to Boston every week. He'd fly to Paris on the weekend. Like if you're a real poet, you get rich, you have a Prada bag. You're not a broke ass like me. It's like you fly to, one weekend he like flew to Ireland to like it be some fucking Seamus Haney thing. He got back on Monday for this fucking class, so he could talk to our dumbasses. That's the poetry life. Commuting back and forth from Illinois, from Champaign, you know, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, to whatever, I don't know, Yukon, whatever. That's the dream. Ashley's phone is at 23%. Uh-oh. So, like, you know, my books are kind of like a version of that without all of the specific kind of like car. So I think publishing it like in a bigger edition where it's all there and you can kind of see there are pieces of like a bigger work, you know, like you figure out how to make things one, you know, with poetry, it's like you make things one letter at a time, practically. One word at a time, one syllable at a time, one line at a time, one stanza at a time, one poem at a time. And so you make these smaller units, they add up to a bigger thing. But I like that it's kind of more of like a mosaic, and you just kind of like go live on certain moments. Whereas like a novel, obviously there's this flow to it. Yeah, Ashley, you get this IRL and psychically already. Telepathic vlogs. Check out my vlog later tonight. So, the other idea being it would be a companion and get sort of like a more permanent kind of companion to the vlogs. You could get the book, you could get the New York City novel, and you could read that and watch the vlogs. And, ideally, and I don't know why YouTube doesn't offer this, but I'd love to do multiple audio tracks on my videos. It's really frustrating that you can't upload multiple audio tracks to every video, because I'd love to have a commentary on all of my vlogs. I think it would make it probably more interesting if it had a commentary track. Ashley's a companion of the collage of her life. And then I'd like to have like a poetry track where I just read my diary that corresponds to the episode over. It takes a lot of time to edit that and slot it into all the right places and shit. So Um, this is stuff she already knows. Okay, Ashley, just poo-poo all over the stream. Why don't you? She gets this in real life. Well, I'm talking this through, because I'm excited about this idea. And so I really got on to just sort of like talk it through, sort of conceptualize it for myself, actually. But also explaining it to viewers, I don't know, will help them maybe have a way into consuming it as content. It's meant to make just poetry easy for everybody and pleasurable. And you don't even have to read it. You just listen to it. Just listen to the endless. A few years ago, I put out my Romana Clay book on tape. I literally have cassette tapes of this. Happy Friday, Adam S. Hello, Seattle. I checked out that poet guy you were talking about. Maybe I'll talk about him. What's his name? Stephen Jesse Earl, or what his name? He has 3 names, like all real psychotic geniuses. No, not geniuses. It's getting chilly all of a sudden. So, Ashley, you're going to be downtown for like a while? What am I supposed to do? I'm all the way up here already. It's getting cold. Where am I supposed to go? Maybe I'll start walking again. Shake my head. Shake my head. Look at the frigid waters. Stephen Jesse Bernstein. Exactly, yeah. See, yeah, he was that. Some of that shit was crazy. Yeah, he's from that era of like the G.G. Allen. Apparently, he put a rat in his mouth while he was on stage. While he was reading his poetry, he had a rat in his mouth. They just don't. They did that kind of shit in New York in like the 70s and shit, 60s, 70s, 80s. As far as I know, nobody's putting any rats in their mouth anymore. Okay, Ashley, we'll see you in 1/2 hour. Oh, God, I need to go to the doctor. She'll be back around 8, props, everybody. Did we get that, everybody in the chat? Did everybody see that? Ashley will probably be back around 8. I don't even know what time it is. Look at this. Look at this epic. I didn't want to just wait for you sad. Okay. Okay. Be excited for you. About what? Okay, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm excited to watch Curb finale. I heard he botched it again. No! Oh, wow. Yeah, Stephen, he killed himself with a cleaver. That's fucking insane. Well, yeah, okay, so I was reading Oliver Stone says he doesn't believe the guy killed himself because he said only 1% of people, supposedly he stabbed himself in the throat. He, like, slit his own throat. He said only 1% of people actually kill themselves by slitting their own throat. That's pretty fucking insane. I mean, the guy had to have been, like, mentally divergent. He was neurodivergent. Ashley, I am acknowledging you, okay? Oh, you need too much. You need too much, okay? You need way too much. I'm saying this publicly. Somebody help me. This is my cry for help. Somebody rescue me. I'm being smothered by Ashley. Everybody can see it. They're just letting it happen. I'm the victim here. Oh, it's getting chilly. It's getting chilly out here. The reflection pond. He was heavy in drugs for a while. I believe it. But apparently he would open for Nirvana and all the kind of Soundgarden bands. Those type of bands. The grunge. So I'm sure that he was on Sub Pop, I guess. Which was the same like label as Nirvana. And here, I don't know. This is what I read. It was pretty, it was pretty interesting. The fact that grunge or whatever, that vibe probably, did have, yeah, right. He probably did have sort of like a stylistic influence on that, His album Prison, yeah, I heard about that, Prison. I haven't listened to it yet. But those are the kind of people that that's one of my jobs, I feel like, as a poet, is to, like, be a historian of especially of regional. You know, that's why I wrote different books for different cities, because like every city I try to go to, I try to investigate the local poetry scene and just find the things that I vibe with. Okay, Ashley, we'll see you very soon, okay? Let me change this up. Shoot this way, maybe. Someday we'll write a song called Ashley. Okay. I wrote a song, it's in the vlog today. It's at the end of the vlog, you'll see it. It's called Psycho Try to Control My Life-O. It's a song about Ashley. You'll see it. It's in my vlog tonight. I think it's a good vlog. It's got my performance from Long Island at that Barrier Open Mic. Shout out to Barrier Open Mic. Oh, God, Ashley. Where I... Oh, my God, Ashley. Ugh. Yeah, so it's another hour-long slow TV. Actually, it's better than Bruce Lee. Okay, we'll write a song called Ashley, okay? Help me go to the doctor, okay? I need to go to the doctor. Can you help me get there? Oh my God. Oh, yeah, so I'm trying to make literary plans here. Now this. Now back to the vlogging. See, this is why I turn the chat off. It is just too... This is the soap opera playing out in real life. This is the reality show. This is the McMahon family bringing their real heat. Nobody's ruining anything. Get on the train. I'm just sitting here, you know, pontificating. You know, sharing poetry school. Online free YouTube poetry school. Yeah, the peasants don't get to go to the doctor. We just have to tough it out. See, you know, part of me is like, I do just want my body to, like, heal naturally. I don't want to have to do it with drugs, but I'm also don't want to get into deeper trouble and have my health collapse for no fucking reason. Just because I do have Medicaid, you know, theoretically I could go to the doctor. I need to be a man about it. I need to stop being a wimp about it. Okay, Ashley, thank you. We will see you very soon. We're live from Central Park. I take everything back. I take everything back, Ashley. I take it all back. I'm sorry. It's all... Oh, God. It was just a joke. All right? Clearly you're not a psycho fucking commenting 1,000 times in 2 seconds in the comments. What is your comment per minute ratio? It's insane. Your comment per minute speed is rapid. Thank you. Thank you for the engagement. I hope YouTube is seeing this engagement and it drives me up in the viewership. Here, check out the Sunset Pond, everybody. Isn't that magnificent? This is why we live in the greatest city in the world, according to Rudy Giuliani. It's the greatest city in the world. You can get away with anything. You can hang out with Donald Trump. Host Saturday Night Live. I also have my pandemic super novel. Yeah, writers write. A writer writes always. Do we have any Throw Mama from the Train fans out there? Probably the greatest movie ever made about creative writing workshops. Although I haven't seen the end of the tour yet. We still got to watch the end of the tour. Throw Mama from the Train, the greatest movie ever made about creative writing workshop culture. Billy Crystal. A writer writes always. The night was sultry. Okay, Ashley. Good. We'll see you very soon. A writer writes always like Ashley. Look at Ashley. She is a pure writer, okay? That is a pure writer right there. And, you know, I don't know. Okay, so yeah, my pandemic super novel, Ordinary Wonder. It's 2,500 pages long. It's not long enough. Maybe it's longer. Maybe since I could add more shit. It's got to be as long as Proust or Carl. It's got to be Knausgaard, right? You got to out Knausgaard. Isn't that the goal, right? That's what streaming is to me. That's what vlogging is. I'm trying to out Ben Lerner here. I'm trying to out autofiction the white fucking male autofiction gods. I mean, if you watch Scenes from a Life, right, one of the first episodes, you see Ben Lerner talking about 1004, and you see fucking Knausgaard. My Struggle. Everybody was obsessed with that shit. Zadie Smith, Jonathan Lethem. People talked about it like it had broken the fucking sound barrier of literature, and it was like Proust. I never read My Struggle. I've picked it up a little bit here and there. I'm curious. It's so fucking long. Who the fuck would want to read? I mean, it's a 35 fucking... I think it's 7,000 pages or something, isn't it? Maybe I should get into My Struggle. But it's like binge watching. You know, that was the era of binge watching for real. Now it's been degraded a little bit. Now it's all fictional universes. We know how we say My Struggle. Well, that's one of the insane things that right before the Trump moment, sort of white male solipsism hit absolute peak in the human mind with the, 7,000 page interior saga of every little mundane fucking thing that ever happened to this fucking Aryan super god, Klaus von Bülow Knausgaard, named after fucking Hitler's memoir. Like, what an outrageously white supremacist, sarcastic, ironic, privileged thing to do. Our Scandinavian, he's like the ultimate, literary fuck, hunk. I'm sure women were just, all about Knausgaard. This, fucking Swedish or whatever he is. He's the Dr. Max or whatever. He's the Max, what's that guy? Who's the super producer that wrote all those fucking songs? He's that guy of literature. Dr. Max or Dr. Luke and Max. Who's the Max guy who wrote all those songs? ABBA. Yeah, so, with Scenes from a Life, with City Life, I don't know. To me, those guys are kind of bland, middle of the road. It's like doing that within kind of an avant-garde poetic style that's also kind of accessible and readable. Ben Lerner's novels were pretty just much novels. They weren't, although his insights maybe are a little bit honed by kind of art world or high kind of aesthetic. It's basically about him being a slobby white guy smoking weed. Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. Oh, it's freezing out here. To be honest, I don't know that much about Nietzsche. I've picked it up from time to time. What did I see the other day? Something about Nietzsche. Somebody commented on one of his teachers or something said he was exceptionally intelligent, which often those people come to ruin. They never amount to anything. People who are incredibly intelligent have a hard time just even living their lives. And Nietzsche was kind of an exception or something. He was actually able to I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I've definitely when I was a little kid, my dad was into Nietzsche. Beyond Good and Evil. And so we had the book in our house. It was actually one of the book. We had we had golf books. We had the illustrated Jack Nicklaus course book and shit. But we also had Friedrich Nietzsche, Beyond Good and Evil. So I'd pick it up from time to time, and it literally, I could not understand it at all. It was totally beyond me. But I picked it up, I have the portable Nietzsche. I pick it up from time to time, and it seems pretty, pretty digestible. He speaks in kind of aphorisms. It is almost like Proverbs from Hell or something. He's like a poet, I would say, where like he maximizes like... The thing is, okay, let me say this. People expect me to like be in philosophy. I've never been into philosophy. I know very little about it. I'm not a philosophy bro. To me, poetry is philosophy. Whatever philosophy you need, you should read fucking John Ashbery. Because John Ashbery, there's shit in Ashbery that is beyond... Deleuze and Guattari. Now that's some fucking philosophy. Those guys will blow your mind with every goddamn sentence. It's unbelievable the level that those guys think on. Like, I don't know how Deleuze and Guattari do what they do, but they are some of the greatest poetry of the last, half of the 20th century is Deleuze and Guattari. But it's all about society and God knows what. Sartre, okay, I read No Exit in high school. It was one of the first plays I ever read because I'd heard of it. Hell is Other People sounded pretty accurate to me. And I think I just wanted to like things that were French. I wanted to be pretentious. I had Proust. I had like Swann's Way. I didn't read it, but I had it. And so I had like, I bought No Exit and other plays. And I did read the fucking play, actually. It's kind of like a Beckett thing in a way. It's like they're stuck in this fucking room that they can't get out of, right? And they're stuck with these other people. It's like a version of hell, I guess. Or heaven, I guess, maybe depending how you look. To me, it's like a version of hell, I guess. And it's like, I think it's three people and they're kind of stuck together and it's just like they're kind of perfectly assigned so that they just don't get along at all. Hell is Other People. And they can't get out of the room. And to me, that's just life. What situation are you in where it's not like that? It's not what happens to you. It's how you react to what happens to you. Sartre had a negative vibe, bro. But in high school, my senior English teacher sort of made a disparaging remark about, were any of you into Sartre yet? No Exit, or Nausea. I think I had Nausea. I didn't read any of it. I don't know. I was into the 400 Blows, I guess. That was like my sort of like recapitulation of whatever that energy was, maybe. But yeah, I've never really read philosophy stuff at all, my dad's really into Kierkegaard, I guess. Or, I don't know, Schopenhauer. Is he a philosopher or is he a composer? What's the difference? But, I'm definitely I was really into McLuhan. I'm into things that are like useful for life. Like to me, philosophy is almost like quantum physics or something where it's like there's a lot of theories that it's like it's sort of unprovable and it's just sort of people give it this kind of respect that's like, whoa, this is like, I think therefore I am. Wow. I think there are definitely pivot points in philosophy kind of history that are important to know. Plato, Aristotle. It's important to be versed in it. I would like to read more of it. I just don't find it that interesting to read. I think Nietzsche is super interesting to read, though, actually, for a philosopher. He writes more like a poet, where it's like just every sentence kind of has this super impact, and it's super kind of, I don't know, contradictory or kind of controversial or, he does have this kind of mind power, but I don't know the politics of it or, is he responsible for Wagner or Nazi or whatever, I don't even know. But, the more recent stuff, like that Bifo guy, Franco Bifardi or whatever his name is, and McLuhan, and like I said, I've been watching a lot of those Mark Fisher lectures. I'm not sure if that's philosophy. To me, I guess it's like social commentary, but it's like explaining what's going on in our society feels super important. Social commentary, which is, that's a part of my poetry, definitely, big time. But the poetry kind of encompasses everything that you want to talk about or include, every subject matter possible. To me, like James Joyce, Whitman, Emerson, okay? I know, like, Emerson is, like, the ultimate, like, white guy. But to me, those essays, the Emerson poet essay, I don't know if people have read this essay, but if you are a poet, go out and get the poet essay by Emerson immediately. Because to me, it was basically like how I chose to live my life. I read it in college. So it's, to me, the real philosophers, the unacknowledged legislatures are the poets. I got whatever people get from philosophy. Poetry, I feel like, has that. It's show not tell. The Romantics have philosophy. They're a product of the Enlightenment. They're different than like a Voltaire or, a fucking Descartes or whatever the fuck, because their writing is just so fruitful. If you're into that, if you want to hear rhetoric in an argument, that's a different thing, though, which I think is what a lot of people want. I mean, there's tons of philosophy on YouTube. So, there's so many fucking YouTube videos that are like, hey, we're going to, like, break down, Foucault or something, or, like, it's sort of how-to history, simplifying. My dad has kind of like a philosopher kind of vibe. He's constantly, like, weighing things, and, like, just our house was like a very, like, cerebral kind of, like, intellectualizing everything, kind of, hashing it out, reasoning it out. As far as, like, being academically trained in that, I don't find that interesting. I find that about as interesting as, like, being a scientist or something. It's, like, good for them. I'm glad people are doing it, but I don't think they know what they're talking about. They probably don't feel like poetry knows what it's talking about. They probably see John Ashbery and, like, this is some bullshit. Why don't they write stuff that makes sense? Why did the CIA fund all this art that makes no sense? All this abstract expressionist art. It's like, he's showing you the philosophy. There's more mind-blowing thought matter in some Ashbery stuff. Read Self-Portrait in a Convex Mirror. Read The System. Read 3 poems. It's like there's stuff in there that just, like... But then a lot of stuff he's just showing you kind of creativity with the way he puts stuff together. The tennis court oath. And it's like fireworks. It's way more sexual and exciting. Not that philosophy isn't sexual. I don't know. It's like mansplaining. It's another word for it. History's mansplainers. The greatest mansplainers of all time. Plato, Aristotle, Confucius. The great philosophers. Machiavelli. I wanted to be super pretentious like that. And there's a poem in my most recent book called Ideas and Opinions, because we had this book at our house by Albert Einstein, and it was literally just called Ideas and Opinions. I thought that is the greatest idea for a book. I want to publish that book. I mean, I'm not Albert Einstein, but, like, why can't everybody write a book that's just ideas and opinions? Why does it have to be anything else? Why does it have to be a novel? Why does it have to be a poem? Why can't it just be ideas and opinions? And I published that. That's kind of what this is. That's what the Einstein book was, But he's Albert Einstein, so people want to buy, they'll pay $20 to fucking read his ideas and opinions. But he's not really a philosopher. You know which philosopher said that? Dolly Parton. Helen Sisu is incredible. Talk about philosophy. Get into Helen Sisu, or however you pronounce it. I'm into Sontag. Is that philosophy? Is Susan Sontag a philosopher? Kind of. Wayne Kalstenbaum. Is Wayne Kalstenbaum a philosopher? I'm into his sort of nonfiction. I just think that there's more interesting work being made sort of between the genres, doing one thing inside of another, writing a philosophy book inside of a notebook poem, or like a piano improvisation, or a jam, garage band thing, doing theater as a garage band, as professional wrestling, as, you know, bards, as filmmaker. Oh, fuck, it's raining. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where am I gonna go? Fuck. Fuck. I seriously asked myself before I fucking came out, I was like, I should take an umbrella. Oh, God, what am I gonna do? I'm trapped. I'm fucking trapped now. Uh-oh. Okay, well, at least, shit. Alright. I might have to sign off. This happens to me every time I live stream from Central Park. It starts to rain. Oh, I don't want to get too trapped. Fuck. Yeah, so, I gotta go to the dentist. Stuck in the rain here in Central Park. It's just drizzling, so it's no big deal. Maybe I should leave before it really starts to come down. Yeah, I was talking about philosophy. See, as you can tell, I don't know shit about it. Wallace Shawn. Oh, man. Alright. What should I do? Should I sign off? I feel like I should maybe sign off. I gotta get something to eat, figure out what the fuck. It's Friday night. I hope everybody's fucking partying and having a great time. Do I have anything coming up? It's just open mic Monday. I think I kind of have like a little bit of a... You know, I was working. The Alice Notley... did I talk about that reading yet? Alice Notley and Waldman reading was on Wednesday. That was pretty incredible. It was just like the gathering of the fucking poets. I mean, everybody came out to that fucking reading, you know. Ashley is getting on the train now. And so just seeing everybody there, the vibe is, the vibe was good, you know. Felt like, you know, kind of the Sleepy Old Project, which was kind of cool. Ashley was there, of course. All right, she's getting on the train now. I got 5 viewers. Is it gonna rain? Can you just tell me what the weather's gonna be? Do you know what the hell is gonna happen? Is it gonna clear up in like 5 minutes, or what am I gonna do? Am I trapped here? Should I go now before it gets worse? I should probably go now before it like starts to fucking like downpour. She'll be here in 20. All right, I should probably sign off. Even though I got 5 viewers. Maybe, all right, you know, well, what's going to happen? If it stops drizzling, I'll walk with the live stream. But right now it's drizzling. I can't afford to get any water on my phone because I really need a new phone. But if this gets wet, it's really over. I had the battery replaced a year ago because it got wet in the rain, so. Ay. This is drama. This is a cliffhanger for people. All right, Ashley, I'll see you soon. Get on the train. I gotta wait for... I guess it's kind of not raining. Okay, Ashley. All right, well, check out my vlog. I think it's premiering shortly. Buy my books, you know. Check out my zines. This Kiwi Mountain tried to buy it. I couldn't ship it to Finland or wherever he lives. God, is there anything else I need to cover? Is there anything else I need to... I know that, you know, this is like a craft talk for the artist, just to give you ideas. Talking through my process. A lot of, you know, okay, Ashley, we will see you in like 20 minutes. Look at all this drama. It's raining. Ashley's getting on the train. We're in Central Park. We're at the Conservatory Water. I just appreciate you guys being a part of the community. The Scenes from a Life community. The pro wrestling, vlogging, poetry, stand-up comedy, self-help culture out there. All my different communities that I'm a part of. Yes, Ashley, we're going to watch the Curb Your Enthusiasm finale. I can't wait to see what Larry did. OJ died. Should I talk about... I didn't even talk about OJ at all. I should definitely talk about... okay, I'll talk about OJ for just a minute. And just to see what happens with the weather. Is he going to clear up or what? I mean, it does look kind of... Do you know what's going to happen, Ashley? Is it raining? Is it going to rain? Should I go now? Fuck. Does anybody know in the comments? Should I go now or do I? Is it going to open up? It does look kind of gray that way. It's also kind of gray that way. Okay, so OJ died. All right. It's kind of not raining, so I'm just going to walk. I mean... It's crazy because I do remember a time where OJ was just like the guy in the Naked Gun movies, you know? And I was 9 years old. I remember watching the fucking car chase at my dad's house in Reynoldsburg, Channing Way. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Fuck. Ooh, shit. Oh no, fuck. I left my notebook on this table when I ran to get out of the rain and it's kind of wet. Oh no. Well, at least I got it. Fuck. Oh shit. God damn it. Oh well. Every fucking time I come to Central Park and live stream, I fucking get wet and my goddamn notebook gets wet. I have that notebook, the Central Park notebook, from last fucking year. Got all fucking soaked. Oh, fuck. Maybe I should just get the fuck out of the park. It's kind of a bad place to be in the rain. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's that bad, but Jesus Christ, man. Did I leave anything else? Fuck. All right. I want to talk about OJ, for Christ's sake. See, I shouldn't have started talking about OJ. Well, at least I found it. Fuck me. Look at me. Such a fucking drug addict. Okay. The drama, people. I am leaving. I just want to make sure I got everything. Fuck. Okay, I got my wallet. I got my keys. Got my pin. Fucking hell. Alright. Okay, so anyway, OJ. Holy shit balls. Now I'm paranoid. Alright, well, these people are just sitting here. Shake my head, shake my head, shake my head. I mean, does that make sense to you when in your head when you say that? Shake my head, shake my head. Oh my God! Thank God I got my notebook back. Fuck. Let me just make sure I got all my weed utensils. OJ. Okay, so yeah, I was at Channing Way. Fuck. And my parents had just moved back from LA, I think. Or were they just about to move there? I think they had just come back, maybe. No, I think it was before they went. That's kind of crazy. But they were like kind of like obsessed with LA. My dad had lived there a little bit. Oh God, Ashley, come on. And so to them, it was like, fuck. Okay. I think I got all my shit here. Sweet Jesus, I can't believe I left my notebook in the fucking rain. But just look at the beauty tonight. I mean, Dover Beach. Here on Dover Beach. There's where Patrick Bateman lives, right up there. Okay. Yes, I gotta get some food. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, so OJ, right? Yeah, we watched the whole fucking chase with the Bronco and everything live when it fucking happened. You know, and it just felt like my parents were like super keyed in because it was LA. They knew all the freeways. Oh, that's a 405, blah, blah, blah. So they were like, I don't know, you know, they wanted to move to LA. It was such an LA fucking thing. You know, it was just like, and, yeah, it's Darkness Falls. Darkness Falls. Night falls on Manhattan. God damn, I don't know, man. It's interesting because, I mean, he got away with it. And, God, I'm not going through this. This is like the ramble, so I can't go through that. Maybe I will. Belvedere Castle this way. Okay. Ay. This is like another fucking recipe for disaster. I'm gonna get caught in the middle of some kind of fucking downpour again, just like last time. Trying to live stream my fucking walk through Central Park. It was innocent enough. It was like fucking Red Riding Hood. I'm like little Red Riding Hood out here. Just unsuspecting. I got my little fucking notebook, my little backpack, my little hat, my little selfie stick. Just trying to entertain and, you know, build my brand on the internet. Hustle my content. You know, preach to the choir. Fuck, I do not want to walk up this giant hill. Not doing that. No way. Adventures in New York. See? 50 years ago, I probably would have gotten murdered. No, it's not dangerous. It's not dangerous. Believe me, it's not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm an unwitting fool. I look like an ultimate dumbass tourist here in my, whatever these jackets are called. My selfie stick. I mean, New York is so fucking policed, it's insane. So, you know, Central Park it's very bright. You know, this is something I was thinking about the other day. One of the big differences between New York before and when I first started coming here and now is it used to be a lot darker. It's way brighter now. There's way more lights everywhere. You know, like this, they want to make it safe for people like that to go jogging and shit after their job. Fuck. I think this is like the fucking... No, it's not. Never mind. So it's almost like a fucking indoor space or something, certain ways. It's a country club. You know, Central Park at this point feels like a golf course to me. It reminds me a lot of the fucking golf courses I played as a kid, as a teenage golfer, as a teenage golf champion. Are we gonna get food? What are we gonna do for food? Should I get food first? Jesus, Ashley can't wait to smoke weed. Everybody, do you see this? Okay, we will play some tunes, maybe. We'll jam it out. Okay, yeah, well, here we are. Look at this nice little bridge here. Fairy tale New York. Living the fairy tale. Walking through the Central Park of our republic. Spouting our poetry. You know, how insane is this? That, like, you can literally use fucking Central Park as a goddamn TV studio to, like, deliver your kind of endless spilling diatribe monologue about current events. It's insane. This is like, it doesn't get... If I had 1 million people watching, I'd be totally happy. If I had 1 million people watching, I probably couldn't do this because... Okay, Ashley, she's logging off. Godspeed. Okay, anyway. What's the next move here? Can I get over here? Yeah, I think so. You know, the thing about New York... Oh, fuck, I'm on 20%. Okay, so I do have to get off soon. Thing about New York is, like, you have to have your wits about you. As long as you have your wits about you, you know when something is off. You know, you got to have 360 awareness. You got to be scanning at all times and just be on your toes. Like, shit does happen. You just got to, you know, be aware. You got to be sensitive to everything that's going on around you. That's one of the things I like about it. I think that's one of the reasons why it inspires this very, like, now poetry. Walking around New York writing about it, because you have to be alert. It's meditation's in an emergency, you know? What's the emergency? New York. New York is the fucking emergency. Central Park is the emergency. Jesus Christ. Here's the Met right here. There it is right there, everybody. Ashley's phone is at 10%, dude. Okay, you don't have to watch. Did you get on the train yet? Is it raining? I can't tell. Is that rain? I cannot tell. That's rain. Fuck. Well, at least I got my fucking... Alright, this is unbelievable. Alright, I'm gonna go into this bridge and then I'm gonna sign off. Fuck. Every fucking time. Okay, alright. Yeah, so anyway, OJ. He's before the real judge now. The real judge and jury will decide what to do with his everlasting soul. Alright, I will, thanks for watching. Isn't this a beautiful, ornate bridge here? Alright. Yeah, go back to the beginning. You can see my stroll throughout the Upper East Side. Check out the Songs from a Life compilation. Be prepared for the raw goods. It's kind of, if you're a Grateful Dead fan, you might like it. Or Bob, if you're into Bob, you might like it. For fans of Ron House. Okay, anyway, come to the open mic Monday. Take it easy, Adam S. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Check out my vlog later. I have a new vlog premiering tonight. It's got some hot stuff in it. Some amazing dialogue fiction. I did want to talk about dialogue fiction. I'll talk about this and then I'm done. Dialogue fiction, I read this. Dialogue fiction is kind of like My Dinner with Andre or Plato. Plato is like dialogue fiction where like the whole story is told through dialogue, two characters talking. And so I'm a fan of dialogue fiction. And my vlogs are kind of dialogue fiction. All right, thank you guys for watching. Check out the dialogue fiction. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.